Welcome, Connect Groups. This evening, as we look at the songs that we sing and the things that they teach, our theme is walking by faith. The moments when our relationship with God are challenged the most is when we face situations that undermine our confidence in God's ability and our hope that He will come to our aid in the situation. We wonder if we can really trust Him in the uncomfortable moments. And in those moments, we wonder if we really can live by faith and not by sight. And we know and we tell ourselves, don't we, that God expands our capacity to trust Him through these moments. But really, is our faith up to it? Can we continue placing our faith in Him when the storm is battering us and it feels like we're drowning in circumstances beyond our control? And that can range from the very serious things right to the very daily things of simply either trying to get the kids out of bed and to where they should be, right through to balancing the books of our finances, or all the long-term and maybe even short-term relational issues that we've got. It can be anything. And this is where our wonderful hymn comes to our aid with biblical truths put in a heartwarming way through poetry. Listen to the words of the second verse of this well-known hymn that we sing in church together. Be still, my soul, thy God doth undertake to guide the future as He has the past. Thy hope, thy confidence, let nothing shake. All now mysterious shall be bright at last. Be still, my soul, the waves and winds still know His voice who ruled them while He dwelt below. It's a fantastic hymn. Fantastic verse. Let's work through it line by line. I'm sure that great tune Finlandia, written by the Finnish composer Sibelius, who composed it, is going through your head at the moment as we read those words. Well, let's look at this first line. It says, Be still, my soul, thy God doth undertake to guide the future as He has the past. I love this word, undertake. It means that somebody has taken it upon themselves to take responsibility for something on our behalf. And in this hymn, what is it that God has designed to undertake on our behalf, to take responsibility for? Well, it's the future, no small thing. When are you likely to trust somebody with the future of your experience? Perhaps you've given over responsibility for a building project to somebody, or a birthday party, or your finances, or your holiday experience to someone else. What would make you trust them with it? Well, usually, you know that if they've done it in the past, the way they did it, well, that could be good enough for you to trust them again. And we're reminded in this hymn that God has undertaken to guide your future as He has done your past. Look at the track record that God has. He's proved to you time and time again. Has God ever let you down? Has He ever left you worse off when He was involved, or left you better off? Has He ever let you down? In just one line, our level of trust increases a couple of notches. Yes, He can be trusted with the future as you walk by faith. Well, the second line in this hymn says, Thy hope, thy confidence, let nothing shake. All now mysterious shall be bright at last. Sometimes we need somebody to tell us what we need to hear. We need to be told what not to do. We need somebody to say, don't worry, don't fear, don't go there. Now, of course, it depends on who's saying it and in what context. If your husband or your wife or your child or your parent is the problem, or they've caused the problem, and they say, don't worry, it doesn't really inspire that much peace and calm in your soul, does it? You don't find your levels of worry decreasing. But if you're in a traffic accident, let's say, and a police officer turns up and says, "Don't worry," then you begin to relax. Someone else has turned up. Someone else who has the authority and the experience, and they can now give me a focus and understanding of what needs to happen. God is infinitely the same. We sing to each other when we sing this together in church. Thy hope, thy confidence, let nothing shake it. It's well placed. The person who has given you hope and confidence to begin with will not let you down, even if you can't understand what's happening. Now, you can have this not just because of the previous line, but for another really good reason in this line. One day, there will be understanding. Put more poetically, of course, and in a much more heartfelt way, all now mysterious shall be bright at last. God does not owe me an explanation. God is not obligated to give us understanding. Faith becomes stronger when things are mysterious and we have to exercise that spiritual muscle. But knowing that one day we will have understanding is a great motivation for us to keep walking by faith. Well, the last line, and this final line is one of my favourite lines of all the hymns that I know. It says, "Be still, my soul. The waves and winds still know his voice who ruled them whilst he dwelt below." For the second time in this hymn, second time in this verse, I should say, we are encouraged to speak to our souls and say, "Be still." I wonder if you speak to yourself at all. While you're doing the dishes, while you're cooking, while you're driving the car, while you're at work, while you're in the room by yourself, when you're in the bathroom, do you speak to yourself? And when you speak to yourself, do you listen to yourself as well? I often find myself saying things like, "Stop being so stupid, Jim," or "Stop now, Jim, before it gets too late," or "Don't say anything else." I find myself saying, "Keep it to yourself." Sometimes, "Just pray," or "Just wait." I speak to myself all the time. Why should your soul be still when we say to it, "Be still, my soul"? Why should our souls be still when the storm of our circumstances or the way that our day is playing out causes so much grief, so much heartache, so much stress and worry and burden? Because even though you feel that you're not in control anymore, and you may not actually be, and because you're still trying to be in control when you're not really in control anymore, there is somebody else who is in control. Who is it? It's the one who speaks. And the most violent expression of creation itself immediately responds with obedience and submission. It's the voice of Jesus, who, when asleep in a boat while a storm threatens to drown everyone in it, he speaks to his disciples and says, "Oh, you of little faith, why are you so afraid?" And then he turns and says, "Peace, be still." And the winds and the waves recognize the voice of the one who brought them into being. There is no set of circumstances that any part of creation can configure that will not respond to the voice of Jesus. You have every right and every responsibility as one of God's children through faith in Jesus to say to your own soul, "Peace, be still, my soul." The waves and winds still know his voice, who ruled them while he dwelt below. Even if the circumstances do not change, the state of your soul can change, and you can learn to walk by faith. What a marvellous hymn. I'd love to do the other verses, and actually there were more verses. Originally there were 6 verses from the German lady who made them, a great German pietist. I think she might have even ended up as a nun, but not much is known about her. But we've just got 3 famous verses. Perhaps there are people in your group who have a testimony to share how this is true, so you can be encouraged as you face what you do and face what you will face as you walk into the future by faith and not by sight. And perhaps as part of your sharing, maybe even to begin with or at the end, you can also listen to the great version of the song that I've sent through Andrew as well, so we can all sing it together in our group, or listen to it together in our group as well. I think the version I'm sending has a cheeky little extra chorus in there that's been added to give a bit of space for reflection and more speaking to ourselves. Bless you. We'll see you Sunday, and God willing, we'll all be at peace in our souls.